Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen. We are back once again for the FALCONGRAFIX Mini Pavement Series, powered by the Rusty Misfits Racing League. Joining me up in the booth again tonight, we got Mr. Hunter Wellman. Welcome, Hunter.
Hey Mick, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, dude, doing pretty good. We just had that awesome mini stock or Legends race, and now we got mini stocks on deck. A lot of the same drivers. It's gonna be a fun night.
Yeah, if you were tuning in to the Legends race, it was very fast-paced and chaotic. We had a lot of incidents, but the drivers were mostly able to keep it under control. Dustin Buck, in his Legend Series debut, ended up taking the trophy home. Larson Parker, your championship leader, followed closely in second. And Kenny Troughton, after getting wrecked by Larson most of the night, ended up in third.
I still can't believe that car was able to finish.
I can't believe half of those cars finished, to be honest. The only entrant that didn't finish was Logan McNitt after an incident in lap 1. He will take a bid again in the mini stocks tonight as they head to Hickory. A tight bull ring compared to New Smyrna that we just faced. A heavier car with more durable tires. I see two drivers sharing. Oh, Dean Qualley getting the Turtle Award. I'm not sure we've had a flip yet this season. But as I was trying to say, heavier car with wider tires and a little less power should lead to a little less chaotic racing, but I guess not. Logan desperately trying to get Dean Qualley back over.
Well, he is that little engine that can.
He's trying very hard, but I don't think these little guys
Oh,
have
there it
enough
goes.
power. Oh, never mind. Logan will get his front tires up to the air and we'll get Dean back over. Dean will start driving backwards. I assume Kenny's somewhere and he's trying to wreck him.
That's exactly what happened. That car looks busted. He can't turn.
Oh, well, I was thinking we were gonna have a more. Oh, look at that wheel hop. I was thinking we were gonna have more of a laid back race here like we have been in the mini stocks, but I guess not. These drivers really just want to eat each other's cars up. Dean Qualley still making laps in that car. Can you believe it?
Not
Can't
very
turn in the
well.
corner at all. Just barely holding on. I believe that is the end of practice.
It is,
We'll
and
now grid up for heat 1.
we did have a late race entry. I see the 68 of Dustin Buck. He's actually going to start on the pole for heat race number 1.
Oh boy, your Legends winner and now mini stock rookie Dustin Buck. Starting on the pole for heat 1, followed by Dean Qualley on his outside, Kenny on his inside, and Logan McNitt, second row outside.
This is going to get interesting right off the get-go.
Yeah, I don't think Dustin's had enough fun yet. Switching from the 68 to the 8 car now.
Yeah, I don't even think he turned a lap in practice because he came in so late. So his first lap will be when they drop the green flag.
Yep, a trial by fire. Best way to learn. He'll be going up against some of the best. Kenny Troughton really knows his way around these heat races. He is a very aggressive driver. And Dean Qualley, one of the best in tire management. Dean is usually at the front of the pack unless he is wrecked. He is able to save tires so well. He just blows by his competition as the laps wind down. But here they go, gridding up for heat race number 1. The pace car will pull off. Heading to the restart zone, waiting for the green flag. It will fly. Dustin with just a little advantage going into turn 1. Dean trying to get the momentum on the outside to work. Dustin will almost clear him, but not quite. Kenny will try to make it 3 wide, but he doesn't have the momentum to do it. Kenny will dive down into turn 1. pushing Dean and Dustin up the track. They will take the high line. Logan McNitt way down low, trying to capitalize on any mistakes made by the drivers. Dean Qualley now back into third.
Oh!
He will send Kenny straight into the wall, and Dean Qualley will be in last now, hoping for a caution. But since
No cautions in heat races.
we do not have cautions in heat races, so once again, Dean Qualley will finish last in Heat 1. Dustin Buck out with the lead, followed by Kenny throwing it into the corner once again. Logan McNitt up into third now after the incident with Dean Qualley. Kenny almost taking a slider line through these corners, treating it like a dirt track. It won't serve him much good at the moment, though. Not even making any time on Dustin. Gate car will get to the wall just a little bit there, leaving some room for Kenny Troughton in the 25.
Kenny's trying. He's getting right to the back bumper of the 8.
Kenny's given everything he's got, but the laps are winding down. He'll have to make a move quick. He'll throw it into turn 1 once again. I think his game plan now is to just move Dustin out of the way with how he's treating his car. He'll scrape the wall. He'll throw it in. He'll touch Dustin's bumper just a little bit. Not able to get under yet. He'll give him the bumper. He
let him have the position.
Yeah, he won't dump him, but Logan McNitt will try.
Logan McNitt sneaks in for second place.
Kenny diving it in a little too hard there, giving the position back, but it'll cost him third place now.
Definitely a classic move by Kenny.
100%. Dustin Buck able to hold on for the race win. Now with Heat 2, Larson Parker starting on pole, row 2, on the outside row 1, Austin Strang. Row 2 will have Matt Moreau and Brad Stefane.
I do like that 18 car, the Little Takes car.
Well, I bet that thing handles just as well as Larson's Legend car from earlier tonight after all the damage.
Yeah.
Might have a better time pushing around one of those cozy coupes. I think that's what they call them.
I do believe it is.
Got Thomas the Tank Engine. Little Tykes car. Probably be seeing a go-kart out here soon. Maybe the plane from Planes. Lights are off on the pace car, 1 to go.
7 laps for the distance, or 8 laps for the distance on this one, and where you finish is where you're going to start your A main on the high line.
Looks like the low and the high line were pretty even in the heat. Dustin, Dean, and Kenny were able to make both lines work. They'll stack up for the green flag. Larson will get the jump early. Austin Strang at his numbers. Matt Moreau will slide up. Brad Stefane will slide higher though. Matt Moreau working his way to second. Brad trying to take it from Austin Strang will fall to fourth. Austin grazing the wall.
Yeah, Brad's confidently in second. Now we'll see if he's got anything for that 18 machine.
And they'll have to chase him down quickly. These heat races are so short. You don't have much time to breathe or think.
Brad did take a second off that lap. Or not a second, a 10th. Sorry, my bad.
He is closing on Larson. Maybe that Little Tykes car has a little wheel loose or something. Brad really closing the gap now, using that lower line to his advantage. Larson still trying to make a mid to high line work. Oh, Brad can get into the wall, and that'll cost him all the position he gained that past lap. Matt Moreau comfortably in third, and Austin Strang in fourth.
Oh, hard into the wall for that 89 again.
He's giving it his all, trying to get to Larson, but with the body wheel damage he has now, he might not be able to do it. He's losing time to the 18.
Gonna get the white flag this time by.
All four cars all have a few car lengths in between each other. It's going to take a lot for a position to be made or lost here. Brad tapping the wall ever so slightly again.
Larson Parker's gonna hold on to the lead. Brad Steffen in second, Matt Moreau in third, Austin Strang in fourth.
Larson spinning after the line. Brad Stefan will get into him, maybe on purpose, maybe on accident, maybe a little bit of both. And now we grid up for our feature. Dustin Buck on the inside, Larson on the outside. Logan McNitt inside row 2. I cannot see the rest. I also have a very, very poor memory. I apologize.
Outside row number 2, we got Brad Steffen. Row number 3, we got Kenny Trouton and Matt Moreau. Row number 4, Dean Qualley and Austin Strang.
We have a tight field tonight. Dean Qualley trying to make a little position on Kenny, unless he's just voicing his displeasure with him. Looks like Dean is mad at the whole field tonight. Be careful for Dean. We saw him work his way up to the front several times in the Legend Series, and we know what a threat he is at the end of these mini stock races.
That he is. Now I just think he's kind of messing with them, trying to get in their head, rattle their cage a little bit.
Oh, he's now on the inside of Matt Moreau. I don't think that's where he's supposed to be lining up.
Matt actually should be up beside Kenny.
I'm sure they'll get it sorted out before turn 4. Lights are off on the pace car. He'll dive down pit road the first opportunity it gets. Pace car is off. The drivers are waiting patiently for the green flag, and it flies. 2x2x2x2 heading into turn 1. Dustin will slide up just a little bit, giving Larson Parker the lead. He'll have to fight with Brad, holding on to second place. He'll push Brad Stefan up just a little bit. Brad will have to use that high line. Dustin will get clear. Dustin will fall into second place. Logan McNitt trying to use the low line down there by the apron. Larson Parker first. Dustin trying to hold on to second. Brad Stefan might get it at the line though. He'll put Dustin in the wall there. Brad Stefan now in second. Dustin falling back to third. Kenny Trouton in fourth.
Brad put himself in the wall there.
But Dustin trying to return the favor to Brad. Kenny pushing Dustin into turn 1. Kenny letting his aggressiveness show.
Trying to get this race done before that baby wakes up.
Hey, well, hopefully. We had a lot of cautions in the last race. This one usually doesn't get that many cautions, but we'll have to see. Again, riding the bumper of the 8 car. 17 of Dean Qualley making up 3 positions on the start. Kenny hardened to the wall. Dean will dive down low. Will he be able to clear him though, or get fully alongside? Kenny in the wall once again. Dean diving low. He'll be able to clear him just barely. Matt Moreau will look to the inside of Kenny Trouton now.
Matt Moreau looking to make a move.
He's glued to the bumper of the 25. He'll enter higher. Will he swing down low and try to take it? He'll give him a shunt.
Aaron on chat says, hope you don't get a DNF tonight, Matt.
Matt Moreau hits Kenny in Almost goes around. He'll be able to save it, but it'll cost him greatly. He'll have to fight for last with Logan McNitt.
Larson Parker stretching his lead out to over a second now.
Yeah, with the clean air, these guys behind him are going to have to line up quickly if they want to charge and try to get past him. Dean Qualley already up to 4th after starting in 7th. He is definitely a threat for this win tonight. Brad getting into the wall a little bit there, trying to chase down Larson Parker.
I feel like that 89 has a magnet on the passenger side.
He might. Really likes hitting that outside wall.
There he is again.
Rubbin is racing, but I think that saying refers to other cars and not the retaining wall. He'll still hold on to second, though. Looks like Dustin and Dean are catching him slightly, giving Larson an even bigger lead here. But it is still very early in the race. We run 75 lap features compared to the 50 in the Legends cars.
And we have seen Parker blow his motor up before on these longer races.
Yeah, at tracks where you're doing nothing but hitting the rev limiter, it's hard to keep that engine cool.
Looks like Matt Moreau is kind of battling his way back up. He's back up to 6th now.
Fighting Austin Strang for that 6th place. About a car length between Dustin and Dean. Dean throws it into the corner there, trying to gain ground on Dustin, but it'll only increase the gap.
Our leader right now is running a 16:63. Last lap, Brad Stefan ran a 16:81, 2/10 slower.
Larson trying to get as big of a lead as he can. He isn't as good with tire management as other cars like Dean and maybe Dustin. We haven't seen what Dustin can do in these cars, but we know from running Monday nights that he is also really good at saving that tire. Larson usually is able to get a really good lead in the early stages of the race. But at tracks like USA, for example, Dean is able to reel him in the closing stages and pass him for the win.
Matt Moreau. He's caught Kenny Troughton.
Kenny making a mistake, having to take the high line in that corner. That'll allow Matt Moreau to get side by side with him. Matt will throw it in there, trying to not make contact. Kenny gets into the wall a little bit, but he will stay clear of Matt. Austin Strang trying to capitalize on their mistakes. Well, Matt Moreau will get into Kenny Troughton. Austin Strang will check up, maybe even make a little contact there.
Still side by side, Kenny was able to have the advantage as they crossed the stripe that time.
Still side by side, Matt will throw it into 3. He'll brush up against Kenny, send him to the way high line. Kenny will still have the advantage at the line, though.
I don't think Kenny's gonna like that too much longer, being pushed up the track like that, though.
I don't think so either. Matt getting super tight once again, forcing Kenny high. Austin Strang will make it 3 wide heading into turn 1. Kenny will sideswipe Matt a couple of times there in the first set of turns. Logan McNitt has now caught this little pack and is trying to make some moves. Matt Moreau now clear of Kenny Trouton. Kenny will be fighting with Austin and Logan there. That lower line over the course of several laps seems to be slightly faster. We now see Matt pulling away from the 3 cars.
I'm a little shocked to see Kenny struggling the way he is. He's normally pretty quick at these tracks.
Now you see him graze the wall a little bit there and go high, leaving room for Austin. Go alongside him. Austin will have the advantage at the finish line. Rubbing side by side again. Kenny is really beating his car up tonight. Kenny will dive it in, but he'll wash up high. Austin Strang's bumper still at Kenny's numbers. Logan giving the 33 car a little bump there at the apex.
Larson Parker, 3-second lead now over the rest of the field.
With all the battling going on behind him and having that clean air advantage, he's able to drive away from these guys and maybe save tire in the process.
As tight as these 3 are running, I wouldn't be too shocked to see these guys bring out a caution.
Oh, that's Brad Stefan in the pits.
Oh, what happened to Brad? Let's take a look. We'll jump back. Looks like he's making a green flag pit stop.
Either that or he may have cut down the tire or gotten some kind of damage. He was hitting the wall an awful lot there in the early stages. Looks like he toes back to pit road.
And then looks like he bailed out. Yep.
He calls it a night. Your second place runner now out of the race. That'll shake things up and give Larson a much bigger advantage now. Logan will pull a slider on the 33 of Austin Strang. You don't see slide jobs too often in asphalt, but they are very fun to pull off. Logan now chasing down the 25, trying to make another pass. He'll wash up though. Him and the 33 will make contact. Austin will take that position right back from him. Logan will give him a bump coming out of 4, but it won't be enough.
And just like that, we're halfway.
These drivers have had a clean first half so far. Definitely a complete opposite from our Legends race earlier tonight. We had close to 10 cautions, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know if we've had one yet in these cars, have we?
I think we've had a couple, but they were earlier in the season. The past couple weeks, I don't think we have had one. And the 60 getting a little more spaced out.
Up front, Larson Parker, no challenges. You can see the distance back to Dustin Buck. 3 1/4 seconds. And then another 5 seconds back to Dean Qualley. At 16 seconds a lap, that's a third of a lap. Just from Buck to Qualley, half a lap from Parker to Qualley.
A huge gap between our top 3 here. Matt Moreau trying to close the gap between him and Dean, but it is still such a big time difference. You can almost fit a hauler between those two with how far apart they are. These cars are mostly spread out now. It'll all come down to tire management at the end of this race.
I think Matt Murrow is closing that gap on Dean Qualley.
He's doing it a foot or so at a time, but yes, it does look like the gap is closing.
Matt Moreau right now on the back bumper.
He closed that gap much quicker now. Looking to the inside, Dean Qualley trying to use the high line, get a little momentum. Dean will stay high through 3 and 4, allowing Matt to get alongside in the turn.
Matt got down
can't
that
keep it on
apron though. I think
straight.
he got a little loose.
These cars can get loose like the Legends cars, but they're much easier to correct. Dean able to keep the gap around a car length in front of Matt Moreau.
We're gonna have a battle for the lead here soon. Parker is losing his gap. Dustin Buck has got it down to only 2 seconds.
I believe Larson may have burned up a little tire.
His little tire on his little tight car.
The little plastic tires that it came with will finally be wearing off. Probably should have put some rubber on that car. Getting down to the apron now.
Yeah, and he's gonna have to contend with some lap cars here that are battling each other for position.
That'll only help Dustin Buck close that gap even more and make a pass, potentially.
Dustin Buck down to 1.7 seconds.
Another 3/10 off of Larson's lead. Larson getting to the wall there. No doubt starting to feel the pressure. He'll go all the way down to the apron that time.
That gap is down to 1.4 seconds.
Larson using the apron and scraping the wall a couple of times.
Oh, he's going all the way across that track. He's using that whole thing
Yeah.
up.
I think his tires are shot now. He's trying to use every inch of that track he can just to limit the wear on them. You can see Dustin inching closer and closer, filling up his rear view mirror. 10 laps ago, he was a tiny dot, and now he is close to filling that thing up.
15 laps to go and 9/10 of a second separate our leaders.
Larson now contending with lap traffic. Looks like the 33 car will let them by. Larson getting into the wall there. That'll only cost him more time to Dustin Buck.
Yeah, that 18 car is not very smooth right now.
He is all over the place. Could he have potentially had some wheel damage from a incident with the wall we didn't see, trying to catch some other battles?
Well, I think since we swapped to watching him, I think he's hit the wall almost every lap.
No doubt feeling the pressure from Dustin. These two were battling it out in the Legends Cars race almost every lap. Dustin scraping the wall just a little bit there. The gap is now around a car length, maybe a little less than that. We have a battle in our hands. With the laps winding down, can Dustin Buck get around Larson Parker for the win? Larson having to use the apron to save tires at the cost of time.
Buck is
Dustin,
right there.
he looks to the inside. Larson will get into the wall that only helped Dustin. He won't take it yet, though. He's waiting for the perfect time to pounce. Not only does he have a tire or time advantage, but he also has the laps on his side. He can wait a little bit longer and then strike on Larson.
Gonna be 8 laps to go coming out of turn number 4.
Dustin will enter higher, trying to get a launch out of turn 2. Gap now less than a car length. He'll throw it into turn 3, riding high. Larson on the apron, still trying to manage that tire wear. Larson holding on for dear life. Dustin trying to make a last-minute move. He'll look to the inside, but he won't have it.
No, the 18 came down and shut the door on that one.
But Dustin still biding his time just a little bit. He'll look to the outside. Larson is no longer clear of the 8. We officially have a battle for the lead. Dustin will pull a crossover. He's at the 18's numbers. He'll slide the car down. He'll get into Larson. Larson able to save it, but it'll cost Dustin time.
Laps are ticking down for that number 8. We're gonna be 4 to go with the stripe.
And he's gonna have to make a move now if he wants to win it. He's right at the 18's bumper. He'll have the momentum coming out of 2. He'll break earlier into the corner.
Crossover move.
These cars are neck and neck now. They're alongside at the line. Dustin throws it into the corner. More than half of that car is alongside the 18. He's now taking away the 18's preferred line. A dead heat at the line with only a couple of laps to go. Dustin will get clear barely. Larson will try to take it back on the inside, pulling a crossover move. Dustin will take the high line. Larson will dive down low. They'll touch coming to the line.
They're gonna wreck!
They'll wreck coming to the line. Still together. The lap's winding down now. Only 1 or 2 to go.
Oh, this is the last lap right here coming out of turn number 4.
Last set of turns. Dustin. Larson washes up. Crossover.
Oh!
Photo finish. Dustin will take it coming out of turn 4.
what a steal.
Larson with overheated tires trying to hold off Dustin Buck, but it won't be enough.
Oh, he had to lead all of them, or pretty close to all of them, except that last one, the most important one.
It only takes 1 lap to win it. What a finish between these two.
And look who got 3rd place, Dean Qualley.
Dean, after starting last, getting wrecked in the heat, will come back for another podium finish. But Dustin Buck sweeping both of the Tuesday night races after not even believing he could win either of them and not registering for the mini stocks until last second. What a finish.
What a drive by that number 8 car.
Oh, absolutely. From a 5-second gap with 20 or 25 to go to nothing at the last lap. Dustin was able to break early in turn 3, allowing the 18 to wash up. They collected each other and almost got into the wall, but he was able to get it by half a car. We'll give the drivers a minute to get into the broadcast booth waiting room, and we'll pull them in for interviews.
Yep, looks like we're just waiting on Mr. Quali.
Oh, my heart is still beating out of my chest after watching that one. Dean Quali is now in the waiting room.
Awesome. All right, finishing third in that number 17 machine, Mr. Dean Quali. How you doing, buddy?
Not bad. How are you?
Not too bad. You had your work cut out for you. You got into Kenny in the heat race, ended up starting dead last in the feature. But you worked that 17 all the way up to third.
Yeah, I think I've lost my talent a bit.
You know, that happens when you get old.
Yeah, no doubt.
What did we had? What, one caution tonight, or was it 0?
There was 0 cautions.
Yeah, no, it was a good race. Larson and Dustin were out on I don't know where they were racing, but yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I think you were probably too far back to see those last couple laps, but man, they left everything out there. Dustin eked by the wind coming out of turn 4.
Oh, that's good. Congrats to Dustin on the win.
Yeah, first race in the minis, first race in the legends. He won both of them tonight.
Yeah, cleaned house.
Well, Mr. Quali, that 17 car is still looking pretty strong. I think he's still got a couple more wins in you this season.
I don't know about that. Hopefully, but we'll see what we got for these guys next time.
I think if we would have got a late race caution, that definitely would have changed things up.
Yeah,
100%.
I've kind of burnt my tires up. I couldn't figure out the line here. I don't know if I might have raced here before, but I just could not find the line.
Yeah, it looked like it was tough. A lot of guys were trying that high line, a couple guys were trying the low line, and they could run side by side for a little bit, but it just wasn't super fast for anybody. Well, except that 18 car.
Yeah, the 68, yep. Or 8, I guess it was.
Yeah.
Dustin, registering so late, wasn't able to get his number and wasn't able to find a paint scheme for either of his cars tonight.
Yeah, his painter sucks.
How come you weren't racing with us, Pickle Man?
I do not own Hickory or New Smyrna.
Excuses.
I told him he's got to save that milk money up and buy some tracks.
Yeah, no doubt.
I had to save up, get the ARCA schedule. It's Monday nights.
And the dirt car schedule for Thursdays, huh?
I had all of those tracks, actually.
Sweet. Well, Dean, congratulations. These cars are fun to race, fun to watch. You guys definitely put on a show tonight. I would recommend going back and watching those last 20 laps with Dustin and Larson up front.
100%.
Oh, I will for sure.
All right, buddy. Who do you want to give a shout out to before I cut you loose?
You guys for broadcasting, and then all the dirt, FALCONGRAFIX, Bauer, True, the guys in the series. It's always fun when you can race and beat and bang and joke about it at the end.
Heck yeah, that's what makes it fun.
I'd like to give a shout out to Thomas the Tank Engine tonight and Little Pikes.
See, and that's what makes it great.
Exactly. Yep.
All right, buddy. We'll catch you later. And if you're bored on Thursday, I might know where there's a mini stock dirt series race you could join.
Yeah, I won't be able to this Thursday, but I do plan on attending at least one this season.
All right, buddy. You have a good night.
You too.
All right, bringing home the 18 Little Tykes car in second place tonight, Mr. Larson Parker.
Oh, my legs are tired from that one.
You had such a huge lead.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I thought I was saving tires, and then next thing I know, he's gaining a few tenths every 5 laps. The next thing I know, he's gaining a few tenths every lap, and then I was like, yeah, I'm in trouble here. So it was just kind of everything I had at the end.
Yeah, you were going
Well,
from the
you gave
apron
it
all the way to the
everything.
wall. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's the only way I could get the throttle to the floor. If not, it was just nothing.
How many times did you hit the wall in those closing laps?
Uh, all of them. Pretty sure in those closing laps, I was in the wall almost at least once a lap, unless I was on his inside.
I was gonna say, I think Hunter was trying to count him, but I think he lost count.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
had lost
that's probably
count of
easy
both
to do.
events.
Yeah, it was a rough night, but I'm glad to be back at some more familiar tracks next week and a smaller track for the legend cars at least.
Oh yeah, you finished second to Buck both races tonight.
Yeah, yeah, he was fast tonight. There wasn't much I could do to stop him with bad luck in the first race and then bad tires in the second one. So
Well, both Hunter and myself really appreciated your paint scheme for tonight.
figured I would
100.
change it up for you guys.
I was telling Mick if you had switched out those plastic tires for some real ones, might have lasted longer.
I might have had some more traction in the long run.
Just a hunch.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on finishing second either way, buddy. Anybody you want to give a shout out to tonight?
Just the same old you guys for putting on the show. My brother for finally racing with me now. It's fun to have somebody I know racing with me. Arcam setup shops for helping me out with whatever advice and stuff and setups I need. So, and that's about it.
All right, buddy. You have a good night, and we'll see you back next week.
All right, I'll see you guys.
Bringing home that number 8 car in first place once again, defeating the 18. We got Mr. Dustin Buck.
I didn't even know what my number was till you just rattled it off.
You joined so late, weren't able to get a number or a paint scheme tonight.
Yeah, I probably had 10 or 15 laps in these things ever. It took the heat and then about halfway through the feature to really figure out how to get entry down and get the corners backed up enough to kind of float it down in there with the brake pedal and set the car up so you could have the steering wheel somewhat straight coming off the corner and not get it to push on exit. So once I got it figured out, then I was like getting 2-3 tenths a lap there. And then when I got caught up to him, I don't have any experience in these trying to set up passes or passing anybody really. So when I have my racing line to just drop it into every lap, it kind of changed how I had been driving the car, and then I kind of had to learn how to pass somebody fast on the fly. These things are fun, and the handling really changes through a run. It's pretty incredible how well they handle at the start and how how awful they get. But while I was learning to drive it, I apparently saved enough tire to do something there at the end. That was some fun racing. We got into each other and didn't wreck each other. Yeah, that was fun. Larson's pretty good there. So he had what, like 3.5 seconds on me. I thought it was game over.
I think at one point it was 5.
It
Yeah,
was.
I just with like 30 to go there, 40 to go, I just conceded that I was going to run second.
Well,
And
even
then I was gonna say, then I'd get 2-3 tenths a lap, and then I kept it up, and it's like, oh, we might got a race here.
yeah, you got to his back bumper with I think about 15 or 20 to go, and that was some awesome racing.
It was fun. Both of us, he was trying everything he could to keep the lead, and like I said, I'm not used to running these. I never really run a full length race in them before. When they came out, I hopped in them and dinked around a little bit, and jumped in a couple open, hosted sessions, and they were just demo derbies. So you run like 2 laps and wreck and dodge people and get wrecked, and I, they were actually a lot of fun. I never never really got to run a long green run like that. Probably never more than maybe like 8 laps. But like I opted a couple lobbies and they were wreck fests, and then I logged out right away.
Well, if you're bored, Thursday nights, dirt mini stocks. I'm just saying.
Oh man, I got like over 500 official starts on pavement, and I got like 16 or 10 or something like that in the dirts, and that'll just be a handful. You won't see me just pop in and win a race like this. Things.
Yeah, if we couldn't get Dustin to run ARCA USA Dirt, I don't think he'll be running dirt mini stocks for the time being.
No, when I get in the dirt stuff, I'm a fish out of water. I'm pretty fortunate. I do as well as I do on the pavement, but like, man, I've only got so much time, and it's like I can focus on one thing. I'm sure I could get the hang of dirt if I put a little bit of effort to it, but I like running the pavement stuff. I was always a NASCAR fan growing up. Back when I was a kid, my weekend consisted of watching ARCA cars, then the trucks, then the Busch Series, and then Winston Cup, and it was like my whole weekend revolved around that. And I love pavement racing, and that's what I stick to on there.
So when did you start watching NASCAR?
About 1995. So my first like full year that I really got into NASCAR was Jeff Gordon's first championship season. And then like I was always a big Mark Martin and Roush Racing fan, and back then it was Mark Martin and Ted Musgrave for Roush Racing.
Oh, the 16 Family Channel car.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then back in the day, racing was so popular. All the big cup teams, they had something in the Busch Series. They had something in the trucks. They all had ARCA cars. They were always developing people. So like if you were big into racing back then, and you were like like I was always a Roush Racing guy. So you'd watch those guys start in ARCA. So you start watching Carl Edwards and Greg Biffle and those guys. They started with Roush and ARCA and trucks, and you watched them progress every year. Matt Kenseth, same thing. Um, it was fun. It was a little different. I mean, ARCA now you got Gibbs, and he's always got somebody coming through, and uh, Venturi Racing usually has some decent guys, but the competition isn't in the ARCA series like it used to be, because you used to have Gibbs and Hendricks and Roush, and they all had somebody that they were developing, and they had multi-car teams in the trucks and ARCA and Busch Series and all that. It was just a different time. The heyday of NASCAR was amazing, and like ARCA was its own business back then. It wasn't even owned by NASCAR.
No, they were
And
completely separate.
and you had the
Mhm.
ASA series, so like you would get people that would bounce into trucks from ASA, or they would come from ARCA, and then, they were running full fields too. I mean, the ARCA race, people missed it. So many people showed up to qualify for ARCA races that not everybody made the field. I remember, God, there were some seasons there where, there were 50 full-time NASCAR teams in the Cup Series.
Yeah, and they
It's
only
just,
started 43 cars back then.
right, yeah, and 8 guys would go home every week.
Yep. For me, I started watching like probably mid to late '80s. Watch Bill Elliott and Dale Earnhardt battle it out side by side in the Thunderbird and the Monte Carlo.
Oh yeah, if I would have started watching a little bit younger, I would have caught the late '80s. I think I was probably maybe in 6th or 7th grade when I started watching NASCAR.
That was definitely a good time. The '90s was easily the heyday of NASCAR, and I miss those NASCAR. For me, it's hard to watch now. Just I don't know a lot of the drivers anymore, but it's still good racing.
Oh yeah, I watched that race when one of the Bushes lost to Craven, and saw Harvick get his first race after Earnhardt died.
Atlanta.
And um, watch Mark Martin just eat people up in Busch Series. It was incredible watching him in a Busch car. He just owned everywhere.
His Valvoline cars were probably one of my favorite paint schemes.
Yeah, I guess I'm biased because I was always a Martin fan, but yeah, and that's probably part of why I started to like him, is that I just liked his paint. But yeah, just different times now. I think they'll start 40 cars if they showed up, but they don't even get full fields anymore.
No, they're only starting what 36, 33, something like that.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
there's 36 charters, so you're gonna get 36 people every weekend, and then you get a few people that try to make the show. But I think I think they'll start 40 cars. So if like four people showed up that have a charter, they'd all make the race. But it never happens, or it hardly does, unless it's Daytona.
yeah, they went to 41 this past Daytona 500 because they gave Helio Castroneves a provisional.
Okay, yeah. Um, but like back in the day, people put on beating. You know, Dale Jarrett won Michigan caution free the one time, and that race was crazy because he only won by like 4 seconds. So they went 500 miles at Michigan, and he won by like 4 seconds. But that kind of racing was cool because those guys had to be perfect on pit road, and um, there was just I know there's a lot of emphasis on pit stops now, but the amount of green flag stops they did back in the day compared to now, it's it, racing's different. You make a mistake now and you're going to lose some spots because of yellows, but you made a 4 or 5 second mistake back in the day and you'd lose a whole straightaway on where you were on the racetrack because most of the pit stops were under green.
Yep, exactly. And a lot of the drivers back then actually still worked on their cars.
Oh yeah, yeah. You'd see them sometimes working on their stuff. Yep. Yeah, it's just I miss that kind of racing. I think I'm in the minority where I don't like stages.
I'm not a
I
fan
just
either, because to me a stage is basically a heat race.
right, right, and you strategize based off from knowing exactly when the yellow's coming.
Yep.
And back in the day, I mean, you get they used to do green flag pit stops at Bristol and Martinsville and stuff like that, and you know you you had to battle or you'd be a lap down. Those races ended with what, 7, 8 guys on the lead lap.
Yeah.
It was cool. That was my kind of racing. And the stuff now is exciting, but I don't think it's exciting as back in the day. I miss green flag stops. You used to be sitting there not almost getting bored, but when green flag stops came around, you were watching in because um, it was just the pit stops were a lot bigger deal, or at least they seemed like it back then.
Well, and then there was a time when there wasn't a pit road speed, where those guys had come down pit road speed just hauling the mail.
Yeah, when I started watching, they had speed limits, but I've seen some of the videos that are 100+ mile an hour just ripping down pit road. That stuff's crazy. I'm surprised they went as long as they did without speed limits, but there was probably a technology factor in it, and when the technology came out that they could accurately determine how fast people were going, then they had to slow them down.
Yep. All right, well, we better wrap this thing up. Congratulations on your win. Is there anybody you want to thank before we cut you loose?
Yeah, just thank you guys. Thanks for letting me pop in. I came unannounced tonight, just showed up, took some trophies, I guess. Had a lot of fun. I wasn't really expecting to win a race tonight. I just wanted to hang out. But yeah, the longer the run went in this car, the more it felt like I was driving an 87, and just I run those things all the time, and when it started feeling like 87 car, that's when you guys started seeing me take off, because there was just a lot of waiting for the cars to rotate, and when it turned into the 87 car, that's when I started picking off 2-3 tenths a lap. It was fun, but thank you guys. Thank Dean for putting all the work into the points and all the stuff that he does, and thanks for letting me come hang out.
No problem. You have a wonderful night, Dustin.
Yeah, you too.
Well, Hunter, I would say that was a nice, successful race. Crazy ending. Loved it. Those guys put on a great show.
Oh, absolutely. I think that is the closest asphalt finish I've seen in the mini stocks, possibly ever.
Oh, man, in that battle, coming down to that last lap, you can't ask for a better
Oh.
finish.
Instant classic. We'll have to put that one in the history books.
For sure. Well, thank you very much for jumping up in the booth with me. Hopefully we can see you back on the track next week, though.
Thank you very much for having me. I'll have to check the schedule and get back to you.
All right, buddy. You have a wonderful night.
All right, you too.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here tonight at All the Dirt. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to us BS about old NASCAR stuff, and you have a wonderful night. And we will hope to see you back Thursday night with the Dirt Cars Mini Stocks and UMP Modifieds.